Well, hello there everyone, and today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to create a hutch for this one burner stove here. And yesterday I installed the carbon monoxide detector on my shelf. After sort of moving it around, I recognized that this is where I'm going to be placing it, and to the left there is my garbage bag that I'm just gonna keep over here for now. I haven't found an actual place where it's going to be permanent. So as I'm going through my van build, I'm recognizing I'm building it based on how I interact with the space. And I initially did that too when I first started with cardboard, of all things. And what's nice about cardboard is, I think the term I was looking for before was, it's a much more forgiving material because I could bend it, I could cut it right on the spot without any special tools. Just a box cutter would probably do. And then afterwards I started building out the van. So far I'm quite happy with the layout. There's a few things I definitely will change. For example, cable management, and I'm going to be getting to that as well. But everything else is fused, the wire gauges are correct, and I've got switches and so on and so forth. So the electrical I'm pretty happy with, but for now I am going to be creating this hutch. So I don't know if I showed you guys this. This was a sort of like a, I don't know, it just like pops out. I used this particular hinge there. I wish I had names for this stuff, but check this out there. What are the chances? Check this out. Whoa, see, it just literally lines up so well. My sketch pad right there. So something to, I just want to show that to you guys. I thought it was pretty cool. And here is a very basic sketch of what's going to go here. So it's going to be the hutch. So wait a sec, let me change something here. Okay, there we go. So I just added a platform to it. It's a bit off, but the idea is, I'll show you. Hold on here. This part here is this part here, and it's just resting. So if you could see it, you'll know what I mean. So it's a simple design. This hutch, you've got the top portion here, and then you've got the sides that I'm probably going to glue and screw. And the way it's going to be mounted is this portion is going to sit on top of these ones here, so that it would actually be within this area. So pretty simple design, and I'll see if I can cut some pieces. I've got some scrap wood, some scrap plywood from before. But you know what, before that happens, I'm going to get some measurements. So for this one here, because I've got this piece here, this little ledge, I'm going to bring it over there, and we're looking at about 11 inches right there. And so we'll notate that, 11 inches. Now, something to keep in mind as well is when we're making this stuff is the thickness of the wood. For example, if we're going to be working with a 1/4 inch thickness or a 1/2 inch, we have to sort of account that in our calculations. But since this is an extremely simple ledge, I don't think we have to. Now, the other thing I want to keep in mind is, do I want this hutch to be flush with this thing here? And I think for now I'm going to make it flush. It's about 5 3/4 height or so that we sort of have this continuous flow right there. So I'm going to make it 5 3/4 inches. And we'll notate that. So here it's 5 3/4 inches total height. So that means if I'm going to be using a, let's say, 1/2 inch board, that would be 5 3/4 minus 0.5 or 1/2 inch. So now let's take a look at the depth or the width. And in this case here, since it's going to be flush with the bottom portion, it's going to be 11 inches wide for that top portion right there. And so to account for that 1/2 inch, I did some calculations. So sort of look at this really ugly arrow that I made. So 5 3/4 minus 1/2 inch equals 5 1/4, or 5.25 inches. See? Math is important. Of course, you could have Googled this. And in this case here, just so that I'm consistent, I'm going to call it depth, because I think earlier I called it width. And now in this case here, I'm going to call it width, which is how wide it is for this particular hutch. And so it goes, thinking of the width, how wide should it be? So let's take a look over here, and I have it right at the very edge, and if I follow the ruler, it goes to around 18 around there, and then 17 and a bit, 17 and a half. So let's make it 17. Yeah, 17 sounds good. And so what we will do is we will notate it 17 inches. So there we go. The width is going to be 17 inches. Notice I'm pronouncing width, making sure I get the TH properly. So the width and the depth, the width is 17 and the depth is 11 inches. And we're working with a 1/2 inch ply. Yeah, so there it is. And I am sure there's some drafts people here going bonkers right now, but this seems to work for me at this point. There we go. This may seem like a very funny thing to write, but I like to ensure to make a cut list, and I call it pieces to cut. And what it does is it just gives me a list of the stuff that I need to cut, because I don't have a lot of space and I don't have a lot of time, so I need to do it right the first time. So we're back to that sketch. So I've labeled the top portion A, the one on the right side B, and then the other side C. So A, B, C, kind of 1, 2, 3, just like the song. Yay, there's our first one. So the top portion, which would be A, is going to be 11 inches wide. Oh, sorry, the depth. It's going to be, the depth is going to be 11 inches, and the length, oh, I did it again, sorry, the width will be 17 inches. Okay guys, so can you see why I got to write this stuff down? I'm a very simple guy. So there's the top portion. Okay, now the other thing to consider too is if we are using 1/2 inch ply, that the space, the amount of space that you have between sort of like between the sides is 17 inches minus 1, so you would have 16 inches in total, right? Okay, otherwise it's not going to fit. Actually, it'll still fit. Of course it'll fit, and that's because this thing here is about 13 inches wide. So this would give me 17 minus 1, 16. So 16 inches. So we would have a sort of like a 3-inch space, I mean, left or right in the hutch. So yeah, this kind of works out pretty good. Okay, so let's do the sides there. And here it's 5 3/4, but remember, because we're using 1/2 inch ply, it has to be 5 1/4. That's the height. So I'm going to go down here, and here, this is our side here, and notice B, and it's going to be 11 inches depth, and then 5 1/4 high. That way, that would account for the 1/2 inch ply. Okay, we're back to our planning, and so you know, what I did was, I normally don't do this, but what I did was, usually for this one here, I would just say ×2, but to make it extremely clear, there's our C portion, and there's our C portion there, and I made another one, and it's the same as the B, so 2 of these, and then we'll be able to sort of put it together using screws and glues. So guys, here's some material I'm going to be working with, and what it is, it's plywood from a warehouse skid, and that's what I'm going to be using. So see how this goes. Okay, so I got the first piece cut, the A part. It's not perfect, but at this point it'll do. Well, okay guys, so here we are, and I got it to work, and it fits just perfectly. And what I did was I found another piece of wood here, and I just placed it there so that things don't slide off, but it fits. And just checking back to our plan, and I'm really glad that I labeled everything, because you know, when you're working on this stuff, you kind of forget what it is you're doing, and that's what a plan does. By writing it down, it helps you to sort of brings you back on course, as it were. Like a bunch of things happen. For example, My feet right now are frozen, but what's great is I'm in my van and it's toasty warm, and I'm just gonna thaw out in here. I work in a garage right now and pretty much no heating, so I'm gonna figure out a way to get some heating in there. So that's what it looks like. Quite proud of it. And I used this pallet wood from a warehouse. I picked it up off Facebook. It was, I think, for a 48 by 48 sheet, it was something like $5. Really cheap. So quite happy with that. Here we are, everybody. So I'm looking at this thing, and so I placed the burner at the top, and then I used the hutch instead of the burner being there to store my other stuff there. So let's see how this works out. I know one of my biggest concerns is if I turn on the stove, how hot does it get at the very back there where my jams are? I wouldn't want those harmed at all, right? But I think the other thing I could do is I could just place it on a different platform when I'm doing this. But definitely much easier access, much faster to make coffee there. I think it looks beautiful. And there you have it. Please support my channel by commenting and subscribing. It's free and it can help you with your own tiny home build, as I will be giving out free tips and tricks on how you can make it happen. And if you believe someone else may benefit, please share the video of my curated playlist.